18-year-old tuba player Spencer Brown in the first and second movements of the Sonata for Tuba and Piano by Erica Wazen. We heard him with pianist Chris Thompson here on Introductions on 98.7 WFMT. Spencer, that was wonderful. I love hearing a solo instrument that can also make the floor vibrate every once in a while, depending on which note you're playing. First of all, do you call yourself a tuba player or a tubist?
Either or. It doesn't matter to me.
I wasn't sure what you all call each other. It's not every day that we hear a tuba recital, and I know that you just performed a live recital at the Merit School of Music. Do you find that when people hear you perform, they come with misconceptions about what tuba repertoire is like?
Definitely. A lot of people are just coming to hear, they think it's going to be a lot of loud playing, a lot of angry playing, not a lot of musicianship with the tuba player. But I try, when I perform, to show them that that's not how it is, or even not a lot of technical facility, which obviously isn't the case as in Chardas, which I performed. So,
oh, right. That's a piece that we heard you perform, which was originally written for the violin.
Yes.
And you're just whacking at those 16th notes like it was nothing special. It was just so incredible. And I imagine a lot of people expect a lot of Oompa Loompa music, perhaps. But as you just demonstrated in this beautiful Wazen piece, it can be just as lyrical and beautiful and challenging as any other instrument. So that was wonderful. Thank you. And next, we have another unexpected piece. What are you going to play next for us?
Next, I'm going to play the Capriccio for solo tuba by Krzysztof Penderecki. It's a very angular piece, but also has a very melodic section in the middle, sort of borrowed from Ravel's La Valse.
And this is unexpected. I like how you wrote in your description of your program, because usually this is a recital work for more experienced players. And you thought it would be a cool break from that reputation to have it performed by an 18-year-old. So tell us, why is this usually reserved for more experienced players?
The Capriccio jumps between registers, so you'll have notes that are up to 3 octaves, if more, away from each other, which is quite difficult for the tuba player to be moving between octaves. It's not like a string player or a piano player where they can just shift their hand across the keyboard or across the strings or something. We have to do it in our embouchure, so it's something that comes with time.
So you really have to hear the note that you're about to play in your head before you play it. And I imagine a lot of lip slurs to strengthen your lip muscles. It was involved in the preparation for this piece?
Yes.
So let's hear this now, this piece by Krzysztof Penderecki. It's the Capriccio for solo tuba, and we're going to hear again it performed by 18-year-old Spencer Brown here on Introductions. The Capriccio for solo tuba by Krzysztof Penderecki, performed here on Introductions by 18-year-old Spencer Brown. That was incredible, Spencer. I think if I were a tuba player and if I had just looked at the page, I would have assumed that Penderecki was just playing a cruel joke on me. But you just sailed through those notes. We have discussed the intervals in that short piece, but those are intervals in rapid, short succession. I mean, it's incredible. How did you build up the stamina to do this? Because any kind of octave change on a brass instrument requires a lot of energy.
Well, a great way to practice this piece, or at least what I did, was you can condense it all into one octave. So as far as visually, you're seeing notes above the staff and below the staff. But if you want to practice it so you can actually hear the notes and understand what this brilliant composer has written, you can play them all in the same octave or inside the staff. So you just play the same note, but in a more comfortable, let's call it octave.
Sure.
And you can just practice it that way until you understand what the composer is doing, and then you can move on to these extremities of your register.
Yeah, and speaking of extremities, it sounded like you were playing towards the top and the bottom of your register. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely.
Well, it certainly looked like you were having fun performing that.
It's a great piece. I love it.
Well, anybody can listen to that piece again on our website or this program or any other episode of Introductions. It's WFMTintroductions.com. And that's also where you can submit an audition. And we love your comments about the show. Our address is introductions@WFMT.com. And we hope that you will find us on Facebook for last-minute updates about our many other live programs. Let's take a short break now. When we return, we'll hear the radio premiere of a tuba concerto and some more from Spencer Brown. Welcome back to Introductions. I'm David Polk. Every week, we showcase Chicago's finest pre-college classical musicians. And this week, our guest live here in our 11 Performance Studio is 18-year-old tuba player Spencer Brown from Oak Park. He just graduated from Oak Park and River Forest High School, was involved at the Merit School of Music and the Chicago Youth Symphony Orchestra, and will attend the Colburn School Conservatory of Music in LA this fall, which provides full financial support to all students, covering tuition, room, and board, and he'll be studying with Norm Pearson and Fritz Kaenzig. So congratulations on the Colburn School. This is a wonderful, relatively new school in LA, and WFMT listeners may know it because we did a live broadcast from there this past spring. So I'm sure you're very excited about that, and you'll be next door neighbors with Gustavo Dudamel, who you performed under, what is it, a year and a half ago already?
Yeah, last
year. You performed side by side with the Simon Bolivar Youth Orchestra of Venezuela. What was that like?
It was a really just thrilling experience. It was fun to play with the Venezuelan musicians. I think it was almost a triple orchestra sitting on stage, so it was very loud. And we played Mahler 1, which is one of my favorite pieces, so it was just, overall, it was great.
So did you make any new Venezuelan Facebook friends that day?
Oh, definitely. I guess that's their thing. Anywhere they go, they just add everyone on Facebook.
Oh, they added you on Facebook?
Yeah, you get like 20 requests the next day for Facebook friends.
So if you study abroad in Venezuela, you'll have plenty of people to stay with there already. Well, it's always interesting to hear how people choose their instruments, but I think it's especially interesting to hear how tuba players choose their instrument. And I understand that none of this would have happened without a guy named Luke in, the 4th grade?
Yeah.
So tell us this story.
Well, I started off playing euphonium, and I was the only euphonium player at my elementary school. And I was pretty good, but I wasn't so the greatest, you know? And then I got to 5th grade, and they let the 4th graders start their instruments, and somebody chose euphonium. And within a month, he was better than me because he practiced, and I didn't really practice. So I was like, uh-oh, I need to get a new instrument. So I switched to tuba so that I could be better again.
So you couldn't stand that somebody was better than you?
I guess
not. You know, that's a great motivation. And so what is so great about the tuba? Because you could have switched instruments and decided, hey, this instrument doesn't fit on an airplane. I can't take it anymore. What's so great about it? Why'd you stick with it?
The tuba is it's a fun instrument to sit behind and play. We get to have a lot of solo moments. The tuba is always a solo. So even when you're playing whole notes, it's nice to know that you're providing the foundation for the orchestra and your sound is holding the trombones together and things like just knowing that you're contributing to the music even if you're not playing the solo. So.
And everybody comes to a moment when you're applying for colleges, or in your case, conservatories. When you apply to conservatory, you really have to make that decision, hey, this is something I want to do professionally. I want to do this for life. So did you always want to play the tuba professionally, or did you have to come to this decision last year when you were applying for colleges?
I think I decided in my sophomore year. Going into my freshman year, I went to a music festival in Michigan where I didn't think I was that good going in, and everyone was older than me. And I ended up getting a very high placement in the ensembles. And that's when it sort of set in that maybe I was a little bit better than I thought I was, but I didn't want to get too cocky at that point. So the next summer I went to Europe with a wind ensemble and we toured around. And that's really when I decided that I really enjoyed music. And seeing as I was good at it and I enjoyed it, it seemed like the obvious career choice.
And you can only be a musician if you can't live